The period of the counting of the Omer, Sefirat HaOmer, what people commonly refer to as Sphira time, Sphira. What's your association with Sphira? A happy time or a sad time? Most people associate it with sadness. Noagim shelo lisa isha. Code of Jewish law, the Shulchan Aruch says in Siman Taf Tzadi Gimel that the custom is not to marry a woman between Pesach until Shavuos, particularly until Lag BaOmer. Noagim shelo listaper ad Lag BaOmer. It's a custom, he says, not to take a haircut between Pesach until Lag BaOmer. Why? Because then the students of Rabbi Akiva perished. Oso zman Talmidei Rabbi Akiva. Students of Rabbi Akiva perished. My question for today is this meant to be a sad time? Or did it just happen to be that the students of Rabbi Akiva happened to perish during this time? Is it fundamentally meant to be a happy time or a sad time? We know that the students of Rabbi Akiva perished. That's the Gemara in Yevamos, 62b, Samach Gimel Amud Bet. There it says that Rabbi Akiva had 24,000 students. He had 12,000 zugim talmidim, 12,000 charutas, pairs of students. Hayu lo Rabbi Akiva, throughout Israel. Chula mesu b'perek echad. They all died at one time. When was that? Kula mesu mi Pesach v'datzeres. They all died from Pesach time until Shavuos. Some say pros atzeres, till halfway toward Shavuos, till Lag BaOmer. It's a sad time. The students of Rabbi Akiva perished. Was this meant to be this way? Was this meant to be a sad time? Or was it meant to be a happy time? It happens to be that the Crusaders had many of their actions against the Jewish communities of Worms and Speyer in 1096, during this time, on the 8th of Iyar, during the period of the Omer, 3 days after Yom Ha'atzmaut, in 1096, the year 1096, the community of Speyer was destroyed. In the 23rd of Iyar, the community of Worms had its attack. The period of the Crusaders had its worst days during the Omer. Therefore, if you look in this medieval work, this Ashkenazic work called the Sefer Minhag Tov, he says, we don't wear any new clothing, we don't take a bath, we don't cut our nails. This was his custom, not ours. From Pesach all the way through Shavuos, Chvod HaChasidim, in honor of the great pious people, Tamimim, who gave themselves over the sanctification of God's name, except for Lag BaOmer, in which they celebrate. This time for Ashkenazim, this time for those who suffer from the period of the Crusades, this time for those who lived through the experiences of the death of Rabbi Akiva's students. This time is a very bad time. But I ask, is this a coincidence that these terrible things happen during this time? Or was it meant from time immemorial to be a difficult and period of judgment and difficulty and hardship? What is it? There is some evidence that actually this is meant to be a good time. This is meant to be a holiday time. After all, it's a holiday season. If Pesach, Shavuos, we're in the middle. It should be a happy time. The Ran in the back of the Gemara in Psachim, his commentary on Psachim, he says that Mechashvin Nun Yom L'Simchas HaTorah. We count 50 days to the joyousness of the Torah. What's the real Simchas Torah, the real joyful time of Torah? You know what it is? Shavuos. And what are we counting now? Counting till that joy, till Shavuos. So you would think that it would be a happy time. Furthermore, it's a time of anticipation. Says the Sefer HaChinuch, that book that speaks about the 613 mitzvos, the mitzvah number 305, he says, it's laharos benafshenu hachifetz hagadol. It shows the great desire that we have. Elayom hanichbad hanichsaf, till the great honorific day, the day that we all desire. So this is a period of great anticipation. Anticipation for something great, something exciting, some great simcha. This should be a happy time. Then there's the famous Ramban. Ramban Nachmanides, in the 13th century, this great Spanish rabbi, commentator, halachic authority. He says, Vayamim hasfurim b'neim, vein time. This is the Ramban in Vayikra, Perek Chav Gimel, Pasuk Lamed Vav. The days between Pesach and Shavuos, kechol shel moed. It's like Chol HaMoed time. Is Chol HaMoed a sad time? Surely not. Chol HaMoed, intermediate days of a holiday, are happy times. Times for rejoicing. This should be a happy time between Pesach, one holiday, and Shavuos, another. It's Chol HaMoed, it's the intermediate days. This should have been a happy time. So according to this should have been a happy time, but due to various exigencies of history, it turned out to be a sad time. If you look in the Rabbi Zrachia HaLevi, there in that his commentary also on Pesachim and toward the end, he has this famous discussion about the Sfiras HaOmer, the counting of the Omer. And he says, why don't we say Zman? Why don't we say Shechianu v'kimanu v'giyanu lazman hazeh? Why don't we say that happy blessing that we say whenever we have a periodic mitzvah? Eating matzah, blowing the shofar, reading the Megillah, we always say Shechianu. When we count the Omer the first night, why don't we say Shechianu? Thank God we've reached this day. He says, Shechianu is for something that has a hana. It's a great benefit, pleasure. You're eating the matzah, listening to the shofar, it sounds good. You're sitting in the sukkah, it's enjoyable. But this ein bo zeichel shumana. This has no semblance of any kind of benefit or joy. El agmas nafshenu lachurban beit ma'avayinu. You know what counting the Omer reminds me? It reminds me that there's no temple. That barley offering is no longer waved. We're supposed to count from the second day of Pesach when they waved this barley offering until Shavuos when they brought the two breads in the temple, the shtei alechem. We don't have barley offering. We don't have the two breads. What are we counting? Counting the Omer reminds us that there's no Beis HaMikdash. It reminds us there's no temple. The counting the Omer makes us sad, not happy. On the one hand, this could be used to show that this is a sad time. But you could also say that fundamentally, this shows that fundamentally it was supposed to be a happy time. It's only because of the Churban Beis HaMikdash, of the destruction of the temple, the Holy Temple, that it became a sad time. And that would be one approach we could take. However, what I'd like to show you is that there's ample evidence that this period was destined from the very beginning of history to be a difficult, trying period of judgment. Firstly, what happened in that very first year when they went from the Exodus until they got to Mount Sinai? Well, there were some difficult episodes. After the splitting of the sea, Amalek came to attack. Vayavo Amalek, they came, the great wicked tribe. There was Marah, there were the bitter waters, there was the complaining of the Jews that they had no food and they had no water. Also, in the 3 days right before Pesach, right before Shavuos, you had the Shloshis Yemei Hagbala, the 3 days of preparation. In the 3 days of preparation, we were not allowed to be with a woman. Al tigshu el isha. It's perhaps a time not to have weddings and marriages and the like. It's a more holy and spiritual time. That's evidence number one, that it may not be a time for weddings. It may be a time of difficulty. Furthermore, we mentioned that there's a barley offering. The second day of Pesach, that's the first day we start counting the Omer. On that second day of Pesach, they would take about a gallon of fine sifted flour. They would take one handful of it, throw it on the altar, and that was the Omer offering. First, they would wave that gallon up, north, south, east, and west. They would wave it as we wave a lulav. That waving of the Omer was done with barley. What is barley? Well, when you have a barley offering, it reminds us of another offering, the sota. Sota, the woman suspected of infidelity with her husband, brings a barley offering as well. And why did she bring a barley offering? The Mishnah in Sota says on page 14a, that's Yud Dalet Amud Aleph. Rabbi Gamliel says, Kishem shemaseha masa vehema. This woman who's hiding off with various men she's not married to, she did an animalistic act. Kach karbana machal behema. So too, her offering, her sacrifice that she must bring in conjunction with her, the showdown of the Sota ceremony, is a minchas seorim. It's a barley offering. It's the food of animals.